What if you could convince anyone to do anything? And I don't just mean to get them to do what you want. I mean get them to do what you want and pay you for the privilege. Now, this sounds like pure fantasy, some type of evil magic, but it's not magic or evil at all. In fact, it's probably the most wholesome and beneficial force in the universe, and that force is sales. Today, I'm going to teach you the secret of selling anything. Buckle up, because this is going to be a wild ride. First, my name is Henry Bingaman. If you don't know my story, I started out as a freelancer in 2008, and in the early days, I got so discouraged I almost quit. Then I discovered the secrets and strategies that make high-income freelancing possible, and I eventually built my income up to over $1 million in a year. Today, I make videos like these to help freelancers like you earn more money and have an easier life. Now, real quick, as always, I don't accept money for these hard-won secrets, but I do ask that you pay the toll of 1 like to keep watching this video. And if you find a lot of value in what I'm saying, you can tip me with a subscribe or a comment. All right, this evil, magical, terrible superpower of manipulation, which is, of course, just selling. Now, I say just selling, but if you become world-class at sales, you can literally join the elites of the world. You can have all the money and happiness you want. It's everything. It's the lifeblood of any business or any freelance career. However, I'm not claiming to have discovered any of this myself. There's one book that changed my life, and that's a book called The Secret of Selling Anything by Harry Brown. Now, a little background on Harry Brown. He made millions of dollars in the 70s and 80s as a salesman, which, if you adjust for inflation, is equal to $8 million in today's money. The reason he was able to make so much money is because he understood the concept of value. And that's what he lays out in his book, The Secrets of Selling Anything. Let's walk through how he describes value. He starts by laying out the 3 laws of human nature. First, all individuals seek happiness. Second, happiness is relative. And third, resources are limited. Now, what do these 3 rules have to do with understanding the concept of value? Well, everything. Those 3 laws are critical to understand if you want to accomplish anything in this world. First, you're always dealing with individuals. They may form into groups out of necessity or convenience, but when you boil it all down, only an individual can take an action or make a decision. And every decision and every action an individual takes is to increase their personal, material, physical, or emotional state. There's literally no other reason to do something for any individual. Now, that's pretty obvious when we're talking about buying something. You buy something because you want it. You want it because at the end of the day, you think it'll make you happier or help you avoid losing some amount of happiness you have. But even if you take the example of giving money to charity or doing something for another person that has no possible direct benefit to you that you can see, yes, you still did it for your own happiness. Because for whatever reason, you thought that taking that action was better for you than not taking it. In the case of charity, it makes you happier to be the kind of person that helps others, instead of just being a selfish person who hoards all their money. It's still about bringing you happiness by being a better person. And that brings us to the second law of human nature. Happiness is relative. So what makes you happy does not perfectly align with what makes me happy. If you ask 100 people what their favorite food was, you'd get close to 100 answers. Now, that's kind of a silly example, but there's no issue where that's not true. On an individual basis, people have different likes, different desires, and different needs. And we think different things will make us happy. Now, full disclaimer, we're often wrong about what will make us happy. There's been a lot of times, I'm sure, in all of our lives where we got in a relationship or voted for a political candidate or bought some product because we thought that was the best thing to do, that would bring us the most happiness, only to realize weeks, months, or years later that this was a terrible, horrible mistake and we should never have gone with that decision. But at the time, we took that action because we thought it would make us the happiest. Now, there's one important point I want to clarify here. A lot of us realize that we're dealing with individuals most of the time and that individuals are different. They have different desires and wants. But then all of a sudden, when we're dealing with a business, we think everything changes. We tend to think businesses are just these non-thinking machines. There are rules and structures and pay scales and hierarchies, which is true in a business. However, at the end of the day, every business or corporation is still run by individuals who are seeking happiness, and that happiness is relative. If each of those individuals is acting in their own best interest, then they're going to be making decisions not just for the company, but for themselves. So you have to take both of those things into account when you're dealing with freelance clients, especially. So that's 2 laws of human nature down. There's still nothing really in there about value, right? Well, here's where it all comes together. Resources are limited. That's the 3rd law of human nature. Not a single person on the planet has unlimited resources. Not even Elon Musk or whoever the richest person in the world is today. And that's what gets us to value. If you have limited resources, time, money, effort, you have to trade things. And as soon as you start trading things, you've established that you value one thing more than another. If you pay rent or mortgage, you value having a place to live more than you value that money. Of course, we all wish these costs were lower. In an ideal world, I'd rather have both the money and the place to live, but I simply wouldn't pay the money if it wasn't worth it for me to live there. So let's take another example. If you pay $200 for a pair of sneakers, you value those sneakers more than you value the $200. Now, I think $200 is way too much to pay for a pair of sneakers, but people who do pay that and pay it all the time think of things differently. They have a different hierarchy of values. Now, of course, you may be wrong about what you value, but at the moment you swipe your credit card or fork over the cash or transfer the Bitcoin, you're expressing what you value more. You may not find any deal perfect, but there's no case where you give somebody something in order to receive something else where you feel like your life wouldn't be better if you didn't do that. You're doing it for your own happiness. Now, the reason this is so important to understand is because understanding value is the key to getting paid what you're worth. Not just understanding it, but being able to communicate it. And being able to prove you're worth what you say requires the most important type of proof of all, demonstration. If you can demonstrate what you're doing for a company as a freelancer will earn more than what you're charging, you've proven the value is there. The more you can demonstrate that value and prove it, the more you'll get paid as a freelancer. And one good way to start proving that you're worth it as a freelancer is to use the tools that make you look like a professional. So let me give you the 5 tools that make even brand new freelancers look like seasoned pros. Just go to henrybing.co/free tools. You can get them all for free. That's henrybing.co/free tools. Link is in the description as always. All right, catch you in the next one.